Hello friends, I am Varun Reddy. I got All India 7th rank in CSE 2018 examination. In this video, we briefly discuss about preparation for mathematics optional. So before we head into mathematics optional, I will just give a brief introduction about myself and my UPSC journey. So I've done my graduation in computer science from IIT Bombay, and post my graduation, I've come to Delhi for my preparation. I gave my first attempt in 2014 and 2018 is my fifth attempt. First two attempts I gave with geography as my optional, and in my third attempt I've changed it to mathematics. Since then I've been consistently getting ranks. In my third attempt, when I changed from geography to mathematics for the first time, I got All India 166 rank in CSE 2016. In my fourth attempt, I got All India 225 rank in CSE 2017, and in this examination I got All India 7th rank. In my last three attempts, mathematics has been my strong pillar of support and aided me in getting the rank. And so let's head into mathematics. The first question which comes into the mind of an aspirant is whether I should take mathematics or not, and who should ideally opt for mathematics. So mathematics, like any other optional, is very demanding, and the first basic criteria if you want to choose mathematics is you are interested in mathematics and you have an aptitude for mathematics. In general, it means that you don't get tired if you sit hours and hours spending in doing mathematics, and you are comfortable in solving problems of mathematics, and then you have interest, and once you have interest and aptitude, and naturally the third criteria, the scoring, mathematics is usually very scoring, so that you don't have to question about it. And once you have taken mathematics, the second question which comes to your mind is whether I should take coaching or not. So regarding coaching, one good coaching which is being delivering successful result for years and years is IMS in Delhi, and they have delivered good results, and I have relied on IMS mainly for my test series, and Venkana sir at IMS has been a personal mentor to me. And whether to take coaching or not, it's a very personal call. So personally, I did not attend classes. I did self study for mathematics, and I prepared on my own. So I fetched IMS materials from the academy, IMS academy, and then I solved it on my own. So how can you judge whether you should take coaching or not? I would say is one litmus test is you pick up the real analysis and calculus material and modern algebra material from the market, attempt them, give yourself 1 week or 8 days and try to solve modern algebra booklet of IMS, and then if you are comfortable with the topic, similarly if you feel comfortable with real analysis and calculus, I am quite confident that you can manage mathematics optional preparation on your own without need of classes, and you might be needing coaching institute for your test series. Okay. And once we addressed whether we need coaching or not, the second issue is what are your reference material or sources for preparing mathematics. So for sources, mathematics is quite simple. IMS materials are mostly reliable, and I will advise and strongly recommend aspirants to not burden yourself from doing more and more textbooks and referring to more and more sources. Keep it simple. Just do IMS materials, and for fluid and rigid dynamics, refer to the textbooks which I mentioned. And once you have done IMS materials thoroughly and then revise the IMS materials thoroughly, then try to attempt previous year test series of IMS. Okay, all the previous year test series of IMS are available. Either you can reach the institute or you can reach any mathematics optional people, or you have Telegram group for mathematics which is quite active. There all the previous year test series are posted there, and there are a lot of all the test series of previous year also uploaded on Google Docs. So if you can enroll yourself into the Telegram group, anybody will share you that Google Docs link, and you can get access to around last 5 to 6 years IMS test series materials. Along with that, IMS have also provided previous year solutions for last 10 years for mathematics paper 1 and paper 2. Even that also you can get access to. Okay. So once you have done IMS materials and revise them again, you try to attempt any one previous year test series. So while you are attempting test series, you will get to know which areas you are comfortable with and which areas you are not comfortable with. So for example, when I was attempting test series, I had difficulty in solving problems from real analysis and calculus. I had difficulty in solving problems from complex analysis. I had difficulty also in solving problems. So what I did is, for real analysis and calculus, I went to the reference textbook. For example, for real analysis and calculus, Malik Arora textbook is really good. So I opened Malik and Arora, and I've grossed through the theory. I haven't read word to word. I've just seen the theory, just try to recollect, use this as a revision opportunity, and I've gone through the concepts, and I've gone through the solved examples in Malik and Arora, and that way I just flipped through the entire textbook in less than a day. Similarly, I've done the same thing for complex analysis. Similarly, I've done the same thing for vector algebra from Krishna series. So that way I could revise the entire textbook, and seeing the solved problems has given me immense clarity in improving my understanding of that topic. So again, I want to emphasize on the source material, stick to the IMS material, do it thoroughly, revise it again and again, and if needed, if you feel that for any particular chapter or topic you are not able to comfortably answer test series questions or previous year questions, of which solutions are also provided by the IMS, if you are not feeling comfortable in addressing test series or previous year questions, then only and then only refer to the reference textbook. And I'll just give you a list of reference textbooks which you can go through only if you have any problem with that particular topic. For example, for linear algebra, you have Sham series is good. For real analysis and calculus, you have Malik and Arora. You have analytical geometry, Krishna series is good. For ODE and PDE, Raisingania is good. And I want to mention again, which I forgot, for ODE and PDE, I've gone through the solved examples of Raisingania. And for statics and dynamics of paper 1, you have Krishna series. For vector algebra of paper 1, you have Krishna series. For model algebra, you can refer to Khanna and Bhamri. And for real analysis again of paper 2, Malik Arora. For complex analysis, you have Krishna series. LPP, you don't need a reference textbook. Numerical analysis also, you don't need a reference textbook. For PDE again, Raisingania is good, which is published by Eschand. And for fluid dynamics, you have Raisingania. For rigid dynamics, you have Krishna series. These are the reference books which you can refer to, and only if you are not comfortable in solving previous year questions or IMS test series. Okay. So next we will go into how I manage my mathematics preparation. Okay. So as I mentioned above, I mentioned before that I did mostly self study, and I've put IMS materials as my reference text. And during my preparation, I felt difficulty with modern algebra, real analysis and calculus, ODE, PDE, fluid dynamics and rigid dynamics. For fluid dynamics and rigid dynamics, I have approached DIIS Institute, Vajpayee sir. So I have enrolled to sir classes, and sir teaches physics for UPSC preparation. Therefore, sir is quite comfortable in teaching fluid dynamics and rigid dynamics also. And sir classes are also available online on Neo Stencil. So those classes I felt really helpful. And if you are watching online on Neo Stencil, especially if you are located somewhere away from Delhi, so around the class hours are around 42 hours, and that could be finished in 4 days. And once you do the classes for rigid dynamics and fluid dynamics, you can finish going through the textbooks in probably less than 5 days. So that way, you can finish off that entire chapter of fluid dynamics and rigid dynamics in less than 10 days, and that is quite productive. And secondly, so for modern algebra, which is another topic which aspirants usually face difficulty. So my strategy is, I did IMS material, I revised those problems and that material again and again, and along with that, so I made it a point to try to solve at least all the modern algebra problems from previous year test series of IMS, from the solutions which IMS provides for previous year questions, previous year UPSC questions. So all the problems and most of the models which will come in the UPSC examination will be covered through either test series or previous year questions. So I kept my preparation that way a little bit simple for modern algebra. And for real analysis and calculus, which I felt a little bit of difficulty, I refer to Malik and Arora. So since we have talked about sources, now we'll talk about what are certain check marks which the aspirant should have while managing mathematics optional. The first thing is, so where you should stand approximately 2 months before prelims, and how to manage your time between prelims and mains, balancing mathematics and general studies. So it is advisable, if you are taking mathematics optional, or if you are planning to give the next attempt with mathematics optional, that before at least 1 month or 2 months before prelims, you have finished your entire mathematics syllabus, and then you give your revision of entire mathematics syllabus once second time, and when you are doing your revision for the second time, it is advisable that you make your revision notes of mathematics. So let me explain in detail what revision notes means. Revision notes, for example, take the topic of linear algebra. Revision notes is approximately the synopsis of entire linear algebra topic, which contains the formulas, which contains the important theorems, and one or two steps about if the theorem is asked in the examination, how would you prove it. And it also contains important problems, model problems, which might be asked from linear algebra in the examination. And if there is any problem which is not so obvious and which is little tricky, you write also the key to solve those problems. Just write 2-3 steps, so that when you look at your revision notes, not only you do the formula, you revise your formulas, you revise your theorems, but also you have in your revision notes all the important problems which could be asked in the examination. So revision notes, I will emphasize again and again and again that either you try to be ready with your revision notes before prelims, which is advisable, or before you giving your mains of mathematics paper, you should have revision notes in your hand, because last year we got 5 days of gap for mathematics. However, usually the gap between the mathematics and the language paper is around 1.5 day, and 1.5 day given the huge humongous subject which mathematics is, to revise the entire syllabus, it will take, you need very short and crisp revision notes. And especially I want to emphasize again, because for mathematics paper, if you want to score high, it is important that you recollect through all the concepts before your exam, and there is a high tendency for you to forget those mathematics concepts had you not seen those a day before your exam. Okay, so that is why I will emphasize again on revision notes. So ideally before your prelims, go through your entire mathematics syllabus once, try to revise once more, and when you are revising, try to prepare your revision notes. Okay. Second, how will you manage your time for mathematics and general studies during between prelims and mains? Okay, I'll just give how I managed last year and the year before, or when I first took the mathematics optional. So first 40 days post prelims I gave entirely to mathematics. So I've enrolled myself to IMS test series, and IMS test series usually starts within second week of completion of prelims. So by the 40th day, so we have already finished with almost 5 to 6 test series of IMS. So one first test of IMS consists of paper 1 section A, which is the first 3 topics of paper 1. So in the first week I tried to revise through my revision notes, and I tried to go through various problems of previous year test series of IMS and previous year problems from those topics, from previous year's questions and solutions of which have already been provided by IMS. So I briefly gone through these problems from these particular 3 topics, and then I went and gave the test. So that way, post prelims I have done my first revision, one revision post prelims. Okay, and then section B of paper 1, similarly I did the same, gone through my revision notes, solved the problems from previous year test series, and solve the problems of previous year UPSC questions. Okay, and then I gave the test. Similarly I did for paper 2 section A, similarly I did for paper 2 section B. So 4 tests are done. So by 4 tests I have revised entire syllabus and post prelims. Okay, and I have solved previous year UPSC test series questions of IMS from these particular topics. Okay, and previous year test series, if you are attempting test 1, try to solve last 3 years or 2 years test 1 of test series. Similarly, if you are writing test 3, try to solve last 2 years or 3 years test 3 of the test series of IMS. Okay, and previous year questions, you can solve all the questions related to those particular topics. So that way I revised entirely once, and now the 5th and 6th test of IMS are comprehensive. So for those comprehensive papers I revised my entire revision notes again. Okay, that way by 40 to 43, 44 days I have done my entire revision twice, solved good number of test series papers, and solved previous year questions fully. Okay, and now after that I have started my GS paper, and daily I used to dedicate around 8 to 9 hours for GS and around 3 to 4 hours for my mathematics. And during those time when I started giving more emphasis for general studies, so those 3 to 4 hours, so what I used to do is, I used to pick up previous year test series papers of IMS and made it a point to solve at least one test series every day. Solve the test series means, what it means to solve the test series sitting in your library or home is, so you pick up the test series paper, take the question, try to solve it, and when you are solving, if you are able to get the answer, which is good. If you are not able to get the answer, don't waste more than 5 minutes. Immediately look at the solution which has been provided by that IMS solution and try to note down that solution in a different book. So, I made a notes of all the problems of test series or previous year questions which I am not able to comfortably solve. So, this is my problem, my notebook of wrongs or my notebook of difficult questions. Okay. So, that way I made it a point to solve all the questions of test series of a test on a day, and as the time progressed, it is highly likely that the questions will get repetitive as the number of models of problems in mathematics are limited. As the time progresses, maybe 10 days, 12 days later, the questions will get repetitive and your time to solve a test will also reduce from 3 hours, 4 hours to maybe 2 hours. So, slowly you can accommodate to solve 2 tests per day. And again I will emphasize that when you are solving test series, it is very important to note down all the problems which you are not comfortable in solving or which you make wrong in a separate notebook. I am emphasizing again because one day before my mains mathematics paper, this notebook of difficult problems is what I am revising again and again and again, because the problems which I am comfortable with, I will be solving them if it comes in my mains paper. And these difficult problems is where the likelihood that I will make the mistake again. So, I will revise these problems again and again. So, when you are making this problem, so note down the entire solution. Don't just copy the question into your book of wrongs. Note down the entire solution, revise those solution again and again and again. So, for 45 days, initial 45 days post prelims, I focused exclusively on mathematics. Later, slowly I started with my GS preparation. So, daily I was giving 3 to 4 hours for mathematics. So, this continued for approximately say a month, okay. And after a month, around 75 days are over and we have approximately some 35 to 40 days before mains. So, what I did is, again I revised my entire mathematics revision notes. I am highlighting again, I am revising my revision notes. I am not revising my textbooks or IMS material. I am revising my revision notes, and whichever topic I feel is needed, only those particular topics I am going through the reference textbook or reference material. Okay. For example, real analysis and calculus I have gone through Malik and Arora. For modern algebra, if I am for few topics where I am not feeling comfortable, I again refer to IMS material. So, otherwise I am mostly doing my revision notes, and I am solving the test series questions, I am solving the previous year questions. That is my basic day to day routine for mathematics. So, once for the last 40 days of maths preparation, so I will revise my revision notes. That might take, if you are giving only 3 to 4 hours, that might take maybe some 3-4 days, and after 3-4 days again I will get into that rhythm of solving test series and previous year questions. So, after a week again I will revise my revision notes, again I will take a week to solve the previous year test series. So, that way in those 40 days I revised my entire revision notes in other 3 to 4 times. Okay. And now, so how will you manage your time between your language paper and mains examination of mathematics? So, you might, this year we got 5 days, you might, or 5 or 6 days. So, you might get only 1.5 day also. If you have only 1.5 day, revise your small crisp revision notes which you made for mathematics, and also go through all the problems which you feel difficult and which you made wrong, the book of problems which you made. So, revise through that particular book of problems. And otherwise, if you had 5 days of time, revise your revision notes, allocate 2 days to solve any this year test series or last year test series. So, keep trying to solve the test series problems again and again and again, and then go through your book of wrongs or problems or difficult problems, and then give the examination. Let us talk about how will you manage your time in the mathematics exam, and on what basis you will be awarded marks in the mathematics examination, and what is the general doubt which aspirants have, what is the scaling factor in mathematics. Okay. So, last 3 years I have been giving with mathematics. From the scores which I got from last 2 years, I can tell you with certainty that mathematics scaling factor is around 0.84, which is very high. So, for example, last year my correct attempt, okay, not the total attempt, the correct attempt is around 375 and I got 330 marks. Okay. So in total I attempted around 460, 470, but there you might get a partial marks of say 0.3 percentage of your marks, your total marks. But overall, so the strategy is, if your correct attempt is around 380, 390, you can comfortably expect marks of around 320 to 330. Okay. So on the day of mathematics, what is your strategy? So always remember that you don't need to attempt 500 out of 500 correct. Even if you attempt 380, 400 correct, you still get 330, which is a very good score in math in any optional paper. So if in the examination, if you are not able to answer one or two questions of 15 marker or 20 marker or 10 marker, don't feel nervous. Okay, your strategy is to first identify questions in which you are confident of, and identify choice questions where there is a higher likelihood of you scoring, you getting your correct attempt more. And I'll just give an example. For example, in one particular choice question, you know you are doubtful about 15 marker question and you are sure of 35 marks. In other choice question, you are sure of 30 marks, but this 20 marker question you are still doubtful of. So natural choice is you attempt that 35 marker question, that particular choice question where 35 marks you are certain of, and 15 marker question where you are not doubtful of. Okay, pick that particular choice question, and once you pick your choice questions and compulsory questions you are aware of, attempt the paper. First write all your questions which you are confident of, get yourself a comfortable attempt of say 160, 170. Now pick up the questions where you are not little bit doubtful of. Okay, attempt the question where you have maximum probability of getting right. Okay, and even if you don't know a particular question, you're not getting a particular question right answer, make sure that you write all the formulas and theorems which are involved in that particular question, attempt it nicely. You will get a partial marks of approximately 0.3 to 0.4 out of 10. You will get a partial marks of 3 to 4 marks. Okay, so in that way try to take your total attempt to 230, 240, or if possible 250. Okay, now examiner is going through your mathematics paper. On what basis will you award marks? And this is extremely crucial because this practice you have to do when you are going through IMS notes or when you are practicing test series questions. Okay, so first and most important is he will check whether the answer which you arrived at the end is the correct answer or not. Okay, and after he checked your answer, he will go through whether you have written all the appropriate steps which are written. Appropriate steps is not like it means that your answer should not look like a mathematics problem which you solved in your rough paper. It should look exactly like the answer which is given in a textbook, or answer which is given if you go through IMS material, the way answer is written, which includes, for example, the result we got, we have given so and so. So it includes it includes writing in English also the sentences and then giving the mathematical equations. It includes you writing all the necessary theorems and formulas, and each theorem and formula you write also will be given 1.5 mark. So for a person who got the answer directly, he might get 6 marks out of 10. For a person who has written all that steps possible, he will get full out of full. So it is very important you write all the steps and write an answer very nicely as it is given in IMS material or a textbook, because that will make 30 to 40 marks difference cumulatively in both the papers. Okay, so write it very neatly and write it theoretically all the steps possible, and it is as important as you arriving the final answer. And if for a question you don't know, you are not getting a right final answer, don't be disheartened. You still get 4 out of 10 marks even if you are partially right, you mention all the theorems and formulas. Okay, and quickly move on to the next question. So strategy is attempt as much as possible. When you are prioritizing, attempt those questions which you are fully sure of. And during my mathematics paper, when I am attempting the paper, so I usually attempt the choice questions first and then I will go to the compulsory questions. So the time allocation I usually during the maths paper is approximately 1 hour 40 minutes or 1 hour 45 minutes I will give for all my choice questions. Accordingly divide into by 3, you will get approximately 35 minutes per each particular choice question. Choice question means, for example, question 5 or question 6, 7, 8 or 2, 3, 4 in the papers, which out of which you have to write 3 questions. Out of those 6 choice questions, you have to write 3 questions. And compulsory questions are question 1 and question 5, which are compulsory in both. So for those compulsory questions, I allocate approximately 1 hour 15 minutes, and if you can get more time, which is good. So 1 hour 15 minutes for both the compulsory questions, question 1 and question 5. The reason why I pick up choice questions usually first is choice questions are more in marks, and for example choice questions usually have 3 questions and 50 marks. So to attempt 3 questions, and sometimes the choice questions can be solved in 3 minutes or 4 minutes also, you get such as easy choice questions. So writing 3 questions or 4 questions in 50 for 50 marks is faster in terms of time compared to writing 5 questions of 10 markers in the same time limit. So that's why I pick up choice questions first, and then I'll come to compulsory questions in my mathematics paper. So that is what I mostly want to emphasize on. So I'll just briefly wrap up summarize what I've said so far. So key strategy of mathematics is again, keep yourself limited sources. IMS materials will be good for most of the topics, and revise your revise your source again and again. And for revision, I emphasize again, make yourself a revision notes and revise that particular notes again and again. So make sure that before you give the final exam, at least you revise your revision notes 5 to 6 times, and then practice. And practice. I cannot emphasize enough how much important it is to practice. So before going into the mains examination, I have solved 4 years of previous year test series of IMS, including the current year test series, and I also solved last 10 years mathematics papers and solutions of which have been provided by IMS. And when you are practicing, don't waste more than 5 to 10 minutes on a problem thinking about it or fighting hard for a solution, because you are not giving only mathematics paper, you have to give your time accordingly for general studies also. Think about a problem for 5 minutes. If it is not striking you, look at the solution and note down the problems which you are finding it difficult in your book of wrongs, okay, and revise that book of wrongs again and again and again. So that is briefly the strategy which I followed, and I'll tell you that mathematics optional, if you pick it, it is very rewarding given that you put enough hard work. And managing general studies with mathematics optional is not that easy. It requires you to put extra time, as there is no overlap of syllabus, and mathematics syllabus itself is a bulky one. Plan it nicely and be prepared if you are taking mathematics optional to give those extra time for managing both mathematics and GS, and to put more number of hours. And believe me that it is very rewarding, because post my mains, the moment I go through my correct attempt of mathematics, I know for certain that how many marks I am getting in mathematics, maybe 320, 330, and that gives great amount of confidence. And in mathematics, unlike other options, you can tell with certainty what is the marks you are getting. That is a great booster. So mathematics, if you are confident of and you feel that you have good aptitude of mathematics, pick it and be prepared to put extra hours for general studies, to pull your general studies papers also, and practice test series problems, practice previous year questions again. I will emphasize that again. And thank you Delhi Knowledge Network for giving me this opportunity to talk to the aspirants through your platform. Thank you very much.